Hello, everybody. Good morning.
Hi.
How are you doing, Vero, today?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you, Stefan?
Very good. Very good.
I like I
You like
like the new video.
you like the new intro? Yeah,
Yeah.
very much. So today we are again. It's now session 28. Incredibly, this is now the 28th session. Almost a year ago, we did the first session
Yes.
myself. It's, next session will be the anniversary. So pretty exciting. Thank you very much for having the time. You're definitely the guest I've had the most on the show. It's now the third time. I
Thank
really
you.
always enjoyed a lot because you're for me the perfect impersonation of the mix and the fusion between cultural, organizational development, innovation, technology, and of course people. Right? Technology is all about the people.
Yes, thank you.
Very good. So let's get right into it. Today we have a very interesting topic. We're going to talk about workplace
Yes.
of the future. We're going to talk about employee value proposition, and of course how technology has influenced this and changed this, and of course enabled all of this over the last decade and even more.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. As we talked about before, I want to I want to talk about three things: space, as we know it, the physical space, then technology, and then people. So we can have a layout of what is going on, and there are many interesting things going on right now. We thought we had everything has changed and everything is different, but it's going to be still more changes and more things to happen and to see. And I think it's very interesting for us, and it's a very nice age to be alive.
Sure. That's
Okay.
perfect.
First, space, physical space. I have seen a trend that some of the office buildings are now hotels or residences. So it's a very small percentage right now, but it's growing. So it's something to be keep in your radar. Then is how companies are downsizing their physical space, but they are not going to zero, because most of the people want to have that social uh, touch and want to talk. For example, in cities like New York, San Francisco, where everything happened there, people are aching to go back to that place where the ideas were flowing and everything. So I think that part is going to be to exist, but you are going to be in a smaller place and in fewer days in a week.
So have you heard some data? Because I've found some different data now on these percentages, right? So I also think it depends a little bit on the industries. So maybe finance industry a little bit different than manufacturing, a little bit different than uh,
Yes.
industry, right? Or even for example, the insurance brokers and stuff like that. Like maybe per region, like we are in North America, and I think we have a very similar culture when it comes to work ethic and what we like where we like to be, where we like to perform.
Yes.
So do you have some numbers? Is it 30% of the people that want to go back, 40%, 50%, 70%?
Well, it changes with every source. It's everything is changing as we speak, and I
Yeah.
can tell you a percentage, and it changes the next week. But the downsizing, it's a fact. That is because you can see all the buildings that are emptied and everything. So I think it's more or less in my mind, it's around 40%,
That's,
because it depends on the industry. You
yeah.
cannot take manufacturing everybody or building to their home, but they are doing a downsize. They're doing downsizing in the, for example, corporate in headquarters or in
Sure.
other offices. So
Sure.
it's a fact. But there are many people that they are paying from their pocket, their own pocket. That is the employee value proposition going to. They are paying from their own pocket to go to co-work spaces
Okay, gotcha. Interesting.
because they don't want and you cannot have that in the company's data because they don't tell the office, they don't tell the company. It's not in the company's budget, but it's happening, and they are preferring places with open spaces, a place where they can have a meeting, but also they can like a terrace or places like that.
So
And
just really quick on this point, right? You talk about specifically about the corporate environment. So how
yes,
I saw it in the past, people in corporate, they used to travel for most of the time anyway. So I found
yes,
there was this post that I found this week, and I want to share it here, which is this
yes,
old school versus new remote life, specifically of the people that used to travel a lot, right? And if you can see here how the week usually started for most of those people used to spend 4 to 5 weeks in different locations. They used to travel on Sunday afternoon. Right?
yes,
Like most people don't know that, but the work week for those people started with a afternoon flight or a train out of their homes, having to tell goodbye to their families on a Sunday afternoon when everybody else was having the grill parties. They used to go on a business,
yes,
used to spend the first night on Monday in the hotel, go, of course, work with the local teams. This can be a plant, a customer, right? Specifically sales, crazy, right? Then at night, be at the hotel, work on the laptop until late nights. This is for real, right? Then do the same thing next morning, maybe commute to a different city, a different hotel, a different customer, lots of fast food, lots of course, bad habits, right? And then
yes,
trying to travel on Friday morning, having to close up the week, having to update their sales system, for example, and then of course on Saturday when the family needs you, you're completely tired, you have zero energy left, and then Sunday afternoon the work week starts again, and then the new week, of course, with this remote environment for those specific people, and I'm talking corporate people, I'm talking sales, I'm talking
yes,
maybe finance. This has been changed, and now they have actually time to do some good cooking, to do some remote workshops, to actually be very effective because they book the good meetings at the time that they perform the best. For example, 11 in the morning, 10 in the morning, right? It's really
yes.
interesting. On the weekend, you actually enjoy it. You can do different stuff. So, what do you think about that?
Yes, I was thinking at what you said about people who had to travel on Sunday. Remember that had a name. I can't remember, but it was like the sad afternoon or something like that, because you're not with your family. You're not in on vacation, so you cannot go outside and have or go to a bar because bars are not open on Sundays mostly. So it was in hotels. They had some things for their guests, so they didn't feel so sad because
Really, that's
it was
interesting.
a sad and talking about well, health and wellness, that was a very important part that nobody saw before, remember.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
Yes.
Very interesting. So you wanted to now this was space, right? So space.
Oh, yes, and
Now
in space we're
very
going to
interesting.
see.
People actually say, you know what? Maybe my house is not ready for it. I can't go to the office because I'm
Mhm.
shooting or I'm in a different city. I actually would invest in a co-workspace myself. Super interesting thought. Never thought of it.
Yes. And also there are many new things that are kind of weird, but I think they are going to be something to look for. Pods, for example, you will have a pod in your office. So if you have to go to your office, you can have a pod. The layout, it has to be very flexible because you have to storage and have walls that you can take in a minute and put in a minute, and everything has to be very sanitary. That is our main concern right now. but
Okay.
I don't think it will stop being a concern in the next 2 or 3 years.
I agree.
Yes. And also, these co-work places are closer to the employee's home, than to the, for example, downtown in the city that they are living.
I agree.
So, uh, um, sorry, I had a blip. And so people who work with buildings and rent spaces and real estate, and have to be very flexible, and they will have a, a wider public to attend.
Agree. There are different needs
Yes.
now, right? But that's
Yes.
interesting. The co-work spaces, and there is some spaces around that I think, for example, the, um, the fitness centers or sports centers, right? Maybe this would be a business case for them because they can even use the facility, put in some desks, and make the workout area smaller. People can still,
Mhm.
right? I think that's
Yes.
might be a business case for those guys because they are usually pretty local, right? Like everyone
Yes.
has a little fitness studio around here, so might be an interesting thing for them because of the sanitation issue. I think their normal or usual business is difficult.
Yes. Yes. And also, uh, many things, and we can go to technology right now. Many things, for example, remember when you get to a building and you give your ID and they give you a badge, and everyone is touching things, and even some people take the badge in their mouth, and uh, that is not going to happen anymore, because it's of COVID and sanitary issues and whatever. But you won't have to talk to a receptionist. You will have to talk to maybe an hologram, maybe a tablet. Maybe, so you will deal with a machine, not with people, and you won't touch anything.
I agree. Touchless economy.
Yes.
Very cool.
Also,
Before we jump into technology, like
mhm,
and I know that you're going to talk specific things. I really want to ask you how has your start in the year been? The last time we talked was still 2020. How was your start into 2021? And what changes have you made recently to adapt to the new circumstances in your specific case?
well, I work from home, so everything is as I wish. So
It's
uh,
beautiful. Life is beautiful.
life is beautiful here. But for example, I have to adapt to my customers'
Sure.
rules, for example, or I don't go to. I have been doing my sales activities from home. I don't go to their buildings. We haven't seen in a year, for example, and my conferences as a speaker are, all of them have been in a video call or something like that.
And how is it for you as a speaker? Like I see that it's very difficult. Like if you have a conference for 20, 50 people, only 10% have the cameras on, right? And
Yes.
the rest doesn't have it on because they would be like, so what? How do you engage? Like you used to engage very a lot with the crowd. How do you do it?
Yes, that has been a challenge for me, and it's kind of sad still, but because I like the how to talk to people, and that was part of my perks of the job. But right now, what I do is, if it's for example, a group of 30, I want the names, and I told, "What do you think, Stefan?" And everybody's like, "You have to be paying attention."
Okay, that's a good
Uh,
one.
but but you have to say the name. If you
Okay.
say, does anyone has a question, and nobody will talk, or yes, it's very difficult because you don't have a feedback of what people are how people are responding from what you're saying. So what I do is I kind of read minds and try to be very. The conferences, for example, are shorter,
Okay.
because that way I am a click away from losing your attention. So I have to be fast and I have to be very dynamic. So your attention is on me, and I will try to make you participate.
Okay, gotcha. Interesting.
Yes.
Good side. So let's jump into the technology. So what do you have for us? What have you seen? What have you experienced and tried out? So
Yes, automation is the word that everybody has on the thing. Digital transformation is the other, but I think in there have been many forums that talk about this, about digital transformation. Everybody had to do it. It wasn't a choice. But if you talk about what is going to in the future, we have a lot of AI going on, because and this is very I talked about this with people from Mercer. Well, people from Mercer talked me about this.
okay,
It's yeah, I didn't talk to them, but for example, your personal data as an employee is going to have much more value now, because you are being monitored all day long. Your face is all day long in a camera, so they will know what your how you feel, what do you think about this, because the camera is on, right? And this is the tricky part. Even if you think your camera is off, your camera could be on.
could be. Yeah.
So you have to be, there is going to be a lot of trust issues, or benefits from having a trustable company that you work for, because all your data is going to go to big data analysis. They are going to know when somebody is not happy with their job, and not everybody is happy all day long,
Definitely not.
and they are listening to your home.
Voice, voice. Yeah.
So that is the tricky part. The transparency and your privacy is not anymore yours. See.
Very interesting, and I think that ties very well into what we are going to talk now regarding the people, right? And we have a very good question here from Guillermo. We're going to touch on later on, but we're definitely going to come back to that point of what does that mean, right, for the people and for us and
Yes.
for the one that has the data, right? The responsibility.
Yes, and I it was in the this information was in the report of global talent trends 2021 for Latin America, and I was shocked when I thought of this, because when they said this, because I was thinking of plenty other things, but this is very important for the employees. And also, if we're talking about the main concern right now in companies are wellness and health, mental health, because everybody is burnt out. This year was very intense for everybody. If you had a job, if you didn't have a job, it was a very intense year. And the ones that were still on the payroll, they are burnt out. Most people are burnt out, and what you said, right now they are going to have to make policies about schedules where you have to be in camera or not, where you have to respond to emails and everything. And if you take that, and also you will have to have the tools to collaborate. We cannot we cannot if your company was not ready to collaborate and you didn't have objectives and everything,
Yeah, it was tough.
you cannot work.
So let's touch on that one, Veronica, because it's very interesting what you say regarding the policies and the updates. So just this week, right? I had to specifically point out that I hadn't seen a vacation request in 3 months,
Oh.
right? So no
Why?
vacation request. So because people are like, oh, I'm not going on anywhere anyway. So I'm just at home, so I can also answer the phones and some emails. But that's not right. That's not right. Like we need to have vacation. We need to be able to say, this tomorrow, whatever, I'm not going to be available, etc. So that's very interesting, and it ties into
Mhm.
of Guillermo, and maybe you can attend it because you're the expert here. So Guillermo asked the following question. You talked about mental health, right? But let's talk about mental health support. What is the mental health support that we can implement right away?
Well, I've seen some companies that they have they don't exist anymore. They have a hotline
Okay,
for that, because plenty of people are really really bad. But also, for example, you cannot be you cannot program a meeting after 7 p.m. Or after 6 p.m. I know that that's a little thing,
yeah, it's
but
another thing.
you can in the last summer you could see people having meetings at 10 p.m. or later, and
Great,
that was not okay.
not at all.
The other, it's that they are working with mindfulness and whichever tool that it's working for their employees. Master, not masters, workshops of mindfulness. Some have exercise, physical exercise for the people in the morning, and you can or not turn on your camera. So I think that but Guillermo, it has a very important point. That is going to be an EVP, a very important decision maker in EVP, because if your company has not a good, they don't care about health and wellness, plenty of people could change, because I know nowadays there are not a lot of positions available and whatever, but there will be someday, and
Changing,
you,
changing
yeah,
quickly.
it's changing, and you can change your job like this, because you're at, as we were speaking, you're at home. You could even have two jobs, and if and no one will know. So if you are, for example, you could have your own company or your own entrepreneurship, and you could be working. But if the place you're working for, the company you're working for, doesn't care about this, people are going to change like that.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So, of course, people want to work in something that they are passionate about, where they can see that they have an impact in the goals of the company, in the community, in the industry, and we need to make sure that this is available. Let's go into the employee value proposition. I think to close out this talk,
Mhm.
10 minutes left. I think it's perfect. Let's talk about it. Let's introduce first the concept. You're an expert in this. For everybody that a year ago was unaware that remote work existed, and now, of course, there's lots of people that are unaware that employee value proposition exists. What is it? What can you tell us about it?
Well, of course, everybody has reframed their how they think about remote work, and it's not only to the positive way, it's also the negative way, that it's wonderful to be home all day. No, it's not, because you cannot concentrate and you have to have ideas and whatever. But what I'm seeing right now, it's that some people would like to have a mixed, who they want to have the option of, if I want, I can go to an office or a co-work, or I can stay at home. Others, most people are talking about learning. You have to have a growth mindset, and also what the main skills that companies are looking for are that you are lean to learning, to relearn, and to you have a curiosity, intellectual curiosity, to see many other things, because things are going to be changing like this all day, every day. And is change is going, it always has, but right now it's changing very fast. So you have to have the capacity to learn faster, and to be able, let me explain this, because I've thought this in Spanish and I'm trying to think in English. uh, you have to have your own plan of your own training plan. You
Totally
cannot
agree.
expect the company to have it. You
I
can
would
tell
even
the
call it,
company,
I would even call it development plan, right?
yes, development, yes, that's better. You have to have your own development plan. You can tell that to your company, but you cannot expect the company to do that for you. And companies are to give them information, because I'm sorry, most of the people have no clue of what is going on. So
Right.
they need input from the
I
employees.
agree.
See?
And it's also the other way around, right? So the companies, they need to tell the employees what they expect in the future from them, so that employees can adjust. The other employee can say, you know what, that's really what I'm liking. I look for a different role in the company. Right?
Mhm.
It's really interesting, and it's a ping pong. It's not this is the course you're going to do. It's so outdated. It's not even funny.
No, and also you said something very important. You, as an employee, you have to know two things: where the company is going, so you feel yeah,
Attached.
we're going this way, you feel attached, engaged, and whatever. But also you have to know how how are you help me with this. I
Yeah.
had a
What's
blip
your
in
passion,
Spanish.
right? What's your passion?
¿Cuál es
What
tu
is?
aportación?
Yeah.
¿Cuál
Okay.
es tu
What's your? Yeah. Sure. What is your finally, what are you bringing to the table, right? What
Yes. What are
contribution?
you
Your
bringing to the table?
contribution. What is your contribution to people?
Yes. If you don't understand what your contribution is in the whole process that the company has, it's very easy right now that everybody is in their home and everybody is scarce. It's very easy to feel lost, and to feel that I don't know where the company is going. I don't know what's going on. I know that they are doing things, or people is out of the company from one day to the other. If you don't know, that is very stressing for people, and disengagement.
Very interesting. So now we talk about the 90% of the people that work for somebody. What about the 10% or 9% of the entrepreneurs? That
Ooh.
what like do they have to ask them the same question? Does their contribution change over time as they grow or decrease their size of their stuff? I think that's even a more interesting question. I don't know if you have any insight on that population.
Yes, and I've talked about this with Guillermo Ceballos. Remember him?
Yeah,
Because companies are going to since what is going on, they are going to be employing more freelancers, and the gig economy and everything. So their contracts will have to change. Everything in human resources is going to be reframed, because even if you're having a freelancer for a project, sometimes you will have to train them,
totally.
and you cannot be afraid of losing them, because you could also lose an employee in the same way. So as a freelancer, or as an entrepreneur, you also want to have how you want to know how the company you're working for, your customer, is going to treat you. Let me give you an example. As a freelancer, if you have a company, you do a proposal to a company, and they say, yeah, but I'm going to pay you in 6 months as a freelancer. And I ask them, would as an employee, would you like to be paid 6 months later, after you did some project? I don't think you would. That's what happens with freelancers, or entrepreneurs. Is not a huge company that can support that. And for example, if I had my bandwidth as a consultant, if I had to choose between a customer that pays in 30 days and the other that pays in uh, gazillion days, I will I will go for the 30 days.
Very
And
interesting.
I have to feel engaged with the company too. See, it's kind of this.
It's kind of the same thing, right?
Yes.
Very.
And the way I think of about this is, remember a busy, think of a busy street in India. You know that there are not lanes. Everybody's going like this, and it's a chaos. But nobody's hurt. Everybody knows where they are going, and everybody gets where they are going. So I think it will be like that. You will have to be resilient, to know that sometimes things will be fussy, and just see where you're going to go and just go. Don't hesitate.
Very interesting. So let's go back into this
Oh,
Parasite, right? You already quoted this great company. I can recommend to everybody. They do really, really good market search and insight. And basically, you just mentioned it. If we look at this chart, you can see the correlation between certain proposals that we make to the employees and their behaviors, motivation, satisfaction, advocacy, commitment, and intention to stay. And the biggest thing, if you can go to the top lever to pull, is of course this career development. Now, interestingly, we just said that the career development, the development itself, is also a big responsibility of the employee, right? So this is where we really need to motivate and really need to make the open door process to get the people to speak up and say, you know what, I recently, I'm part of a group of people that are now into, for example, some new technology,
mhm.
for example, AR, and I really want to learn more about AR. And we have a little department that does AR, and I want to be also spending time with those people, even though I'm in human resource. Right? So that's really the part where I see. So what other thing you see on this screen that catches your attention and that you want to elaborate a little bit more?
It's Can you see that benefits and compensation
Yeah.
and are lower? They were never lower, never. But I think even though they are in the last places, as human resources, we will have to find a new way to reward, because some rewards were related to space. For example, the big office in the corner, the
Parking lot.
parking lot, the parking space that was
Yeah.
better for if you were a manager or a director.
Executive
And
cafeteria, for
yes,
example. Executive.
your your American Express, and your travel expenses were bigger, and that's not happening anymore. So you have to find a way, a new way and a better way to reward that those people, and to make that something that people want to do. You know, I want to stay in the company because I aspire to this and this. Um, it says reward for performance. Since we're not all day, you remember we talked about George Constanza
Yeah.
walking with their folder, and you cannot be George Constanza anymore. So you will have to show something.
Results. Results. Sure. Very interesting. Wow. Yeah, I think we covered a lot of topics.
Yes.
That was awesome. And I really don't want to make it too long either. But is there anything else that you want to comment today?
Oh, well, I think it's as I said, think of the busy street in India, and just try to go your way and not to be run over or anything. It doesn't. You won't die in this case, but you will have to be very resilient and think that if ambiguity is something that affects you, do something about it.
Understood.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful saying. If ambiguity affects you emotionally or even physically, you need to do something about it. So what have you seen works as a recommendation to reduce this ambiguity or this anxiety about ambiguity?
Try to get some new skills.
Okay.
There are plenty of sources and resources right now. For example, Google is it's putting everything out, and also you can ask for them. YouTube has a lot of people. This is
Great,
one
great content.
resource.
Great content.
Great content from Stefan Plotz. Well, it's just think about what your company or the company you dream of needs, what you have, and what can and fill the gap in a way that is good for you, and
Sure.
think of that. If you can also, when you're learning, your mind changes and you can adapt more easily to change.
That's really interesting. So that recommendation I like a lot. So if you're feeling stuck, if you're anxiety about the ambiguity, if something changes around you, if the department, the number of people decreased and you're still there, learn something new. Even if you don't need it in the immediate short term, you definitely it's gonna change your perception of everything.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I wanted to show this slide. This was awesome. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Stefan.
Please give us a like in whatever channel you're watching it, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Vero. It's always a big pleasure. Contact Vero. She can give the best advice. She can
Thank you.
talk to your staff. She can talk to the people. She can help you with implementing the program, implementing mindfulness. She has lots of specific skills when it comes to cultural development and organizational development. Best recommendation I can give. Thank you very much, Vero.
Thank you. Thank you, Stefan. You're
Very
very
good.
kind.
Have a great Saturday, everybody. And
You too. Namaste.